Amidst the high expectations of scaling the utmost heights to get to the top, being able to outrun and outsmart are the qualities you need to break through NASCAR's final lap. But then watching your competitors get to the finish line isn't the only painful thing in a race. Losing your top driver to another team is more painful to worry about. Is Hendrick Motorsports set to have a rough year in 2023? Let's find out. Jimmie Johnson, a 7-time champion driver who helped Hendrick Motorsports scale to victorious heights, is returning to the NASCAR Cup Series differently in 2023. He will compete in a selected number of events on the 2023 schedule, including the Daytona 500. But he will do all these at Petty GMS, making him part of the ownership team for the organization that fields Chevrolets. So, Johnson will no longer race the Chevy for Hendrick Motorsports. Well, let's face it, this switch is a significant loss for Hendrick Motorsports because over time the top racer had won 83 races for the team. From winning Napa Auto Parts 500 at California Speedway in April 2022 to win the AAA 400 Drive for Autism at Dover International Speedway in June 2017, Hendrick Motorsports have had a swell time with Jimmie Johnson. From 2001 to 2020, Johnson made 686 starts for Hendrick Motorsports. For most of the time, the 7 Cup Series championships he won are tied with Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty. His 83 wins are tied with Carl Yarborough for 6 on the all-time list. While at Hendrick Motorsport, Johnson became the only Cup Series driver to score 5 consecutive champions, accomplishing the feat from 2006 to 2010. Rick Hendrick founded Hendrick Motorsports before the 1984 NASCAR season. Before becoming the owner of the teams, Hendrick was a car dealer who operated under the umbrella of a company known as the Hendrick Auto Group. In 1985, he decided to make the team official. Hendrick started the team with the help of a car builder, Harry Hyde, Raymond Beadle, a team owner in the NASCAR Cup Series, and a top music entrepreneur, C.K. Spurlock. By joining forces with all these top leads, Hendrick was ready to scale the utmost height and make a name in NASCAR championship. He then named the team Hendrick Motorsports. From 1985 to 1988, Hendrick Motorsports heavily partnered with the GM Goodwrench IMSA GTP Corvette and twin-turbo V6 engine development effort. He competed in the IMSA GTP series with Doc Bundy and Sorel van der Merwen as drivers. Though it felt as though he was heading somewhere, he abandoned the project somewhere. In 1986, Hendrick Motorsports expanded its NASCAR efforts to 2 full-time cars. They grew to 3 in 1987 and 4 in 2000. This multiple scoring speed gave the team an edge, and they became the first team in NASCAR to successfully operate various entries. Aside from that, the team also received praise for their innovations in constructing high-performing engines. Hendrick Motorsports, also known as an all-star racing team, won its first race in 1984 at Martinsville with number 5 driven by a top racer, Jeff Bodine. They didn't stop there. The team amassed more wins at the 2021 Coca-Cola 600 race, with Kyle Larson being the driver with number 5. Another winning record soon came swelling in as they won in the race held by Petty Enterprises. This win was recorded as the biggest of all time since 1960, which made Hendrick Motorsports get the title of the top team with the stamina to win and stay afloat amid the troubles that come with racing. As an American professional stock car racing team, Hendrick Motorsports is considered one of the premier teams to know racing just as they know the back of their hand. They've won 291 NASCAR Cup Series, several Drivers' Championships, 26 Truck Series, and 7 ARCA Racing Series. What an incredible feat. Hendrick Motorsports formerly fielded teams in the Xfinity Series, but later withdrew and merged efforts with JR Motorsports. The team currently fields 4 full-time NASCAR Cup Series with Chevrolet Camaro, with the number 5 for Kyle Larson, number 9 for Chase Elliott, number 24 for William Bryan, and number 48 for Alex Bowman. Hendrick Motorsports have stood its ground competing with so much positivity against other teams in NASCAR. That's not all. Hendrick Motorsports has also fielded cars for many high-performing NASCAR drivers like Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, Terry Labonte, Darrell Waltrip, Hall of Famers, and many others. This fielding of cars also extended to top 7-time Cup champions like Jimmie Johnson, Jeff Bodine, Casey Mears, Kyle Busch, and lots more. Now, to the juicy part of the story, the bad news for Hendrick Motorsports in 2023. In 2000, the winning drive of Hendrick Motorsports took a fantastic turn as Jimmie Johnson joined the team. He was paired with the crew chief, Chad Knaus, and together they won 83 points-paying races and a Super 7 championship. He raced for Hendrick Motorsports for 20 solid years. For the first time since 1976, the IndyCar Series made a huge announcement. The 24-hour Le Mans, the oldest endurance race on the planet, was set to feature a stock car. The race was known for using Garage 12, a particular single-entry class reserved for innovative vehicles. Interestingly, the innovative car was the Chevrolet Camaro LZ1 owned by Hendrick Motorsports, the organization's first entry into a historic event. The LZ1 was to be a modified version of the next-gen car, and Johnson was super eager to get behind the wheel for Hendrick Motorsports. But then, while there had been discussions between the two sides, nobody was yet committed to the interest, as the IndyCar Series was yet to release its 2023 schedule. Johnson continued to have a few conversations with Hendrick Motorsports by declaring his interest in being a NASCAR representative in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. While waiting to commit to being the driver for 24 Hour Le Mans, Johnson made his Indy 500 debut in May. Although he tried to prove he could still make it to the top, he skipped the season. According to him, the road and race courses were a struggle, and he was burnt out at the end of the entire season. However, he made it known that he would step back from full-time racing, not because of tiredness, but because he was eyeing a bucket list of about 10 events like his career IndyCar Series. Even after he stepped away from NASCAR racing, Johnson made it known that he was still waiting to get an idea of what he wanted to do next. Johnson tied his 7 championship wins with Richard Petty and the late Dale Earnhardt. After the race, the winning spirit of Hendrick Motorsports was passed that day to Chase Elliott, who won the Cup title. Soon, Johnson began chasing his IndyCar dream. He stopped racing and has not been to a NASCAR race since that 2020 final. Johnson took about 6 weeks to get back into NASCAR after downing his tools. Before he even returned to NASCAR, the rumor was that Hendrick Motorsports should expect a terrible year because their top team lead in wins had just inherited the Petty GMS as a driver. Despite having said that he lacked an idea what to do next, it was a big wow when Johnson announced on a Friday at Phoenix Raceway that he would return to NASCAR, but he wasn't returning to NASCAR the same way he left as the top driver of Hendrick Motorsports. He was coming back for the 2023 season as an all-new driver for Petty GMS. That was a tremendous vision. Johnson was ready to key into it full-time. Johnson joined Petty GMS Motorsports as the co-owner, alongside team owner Maury Gallagher and the chairman Richard Petty. As part of the ownership agreement, he will race in a selected number of events in the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series season. When asked why he chose the Petty GMS owner Hendrick Motorsports, Johnson said he had a personal discussion with Hendrick Motorsports about getting ownership opportunities in the team, but he received no response while he waited. Johnson added that the GMS deal came together out of the blue and he wasn't expecting it, but he had to accept it because the option seemed so much better than that of the Hendrick Motorsports. He was hopeful for more and better opportunities as a co-owner of Petty GMS Motorsports. In a statement, Rick Hendrick, founder of Hendrick Motorsports, said, "This switch is a fantastic day for our sports team. Jimmy Johnson is one of the all-time great champions on the racetrack and our team. I know he will apply the same mentality to his role in the new team because when he sets his mind to something, the level of commitment and work ethic he brings is unsurpassed." Seeing Jimmy in a fire suit with his name on the roof of a Chevrolet at the Daytona 500 is very special for many of his fans. Yes, I know that competing against him will certainly be a sudden change we never expected, and a big challenge too, but we welcome his return to NASCAR and look forward to the next chapter of a truly remarkable career in his race life. No doubt, this switch has hit the team hard, but Hendrick Motorsports is known to always bounce back from adversity. They've always been at the top of the game, and we hope they can handle this well.